Other people might not be alive next episode.
Cher has secretly been a corpse this entire time.
Necrophilia!
Did you end the episode?
We shall defeat you, Satan, unless you're Tom Ellis, which I love you, Tom Ellis.
I can't hear Cher. Is she talking?
I'm wide awake.
All right, you good to start?
Yeah, my dog's just going crazy. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Dogs love
That
crazy.
works.
We all go crazy for this show. Going crazy.
All right, Cal, go ahead and start and let me know when it's going.
It's starting now.
That was a loud noise.
That was a mysterious noise.
That was
Look it up.
scary.
I just quiet. I don't know what
I
you
think we
guys are
just
talking
exited the void.
And no, these are not real glasses. I just wanted to wear them just because.
I wear glasses. But real fast, before we continue, I think something has to be said. I think Marvel reached a new low, and I think I need to talk about it. Despite all our criticisms, today I sat down, I watched Kat Dennings in a Marvel property, and the one thought I had in my head is, why do I like Kat Dennings more than Captain Marvel?
Oh, come on.
I'm serious. I think she's a better character. I think Darcy Lewis is a better character than Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. I do.
Hey!
We're still going through that route again, aren't we? With the whole.
I don't
You
like
should have
her.
heard him when he watched Captain Marvel Alcoholics. Like, he just went on a
Breadsticks.
Captain Breadsticks with cheese.
At least with like Darcy, she's like stale noodles. At least she's noodles. With friggin' Captain Marvel, it's just here's your bread. Enjoy thyself. But
You're
hello, everybody.
saying that Wait, hold on. You're saying that stale noodles is better than breadsticks?
I think noodles that have been out and aren't necessarily cold noodles. Let's go with that.
But you're talking about stale noodles. You said you
I'm
used the word
switching to
stale,
cold.
and
I
that
meant cold.
offends me as an Italian.
I did say stale. That was the wrong word. Let's just say they're cold. Some are stale. You got to noodle through. I actually really like
never
Darcy.
bothered me anyway.
I wouldn't even call them noodles. She's like good noodles.
Ramen noodles are awesome.
They're okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Disney+Pals. We got Mel in, so that one guy who keeps asking, yeah, she's alive. we checked. She's still here.
Yeah, she totally wasn't snapped by Thanos at all.
I was the only one confirmed snapped by Thanos.
And then you transformed into weed.
I defeated him and made it into a weed farm. All the ashes of my enemies.
Finally, time to do things my way.
Guys, I'm going to lose reality to get out of my situation by finding Thanos somewhere in the hemp farms of Colorado, and I'm going to defeat him by giving him some terrible, terrible swag instead of the kids, as they say here.
They beat him by giving him bad meat. So Mel is going to murder Thanos, steal his weed farm, and just not take the Infinity Gauntlet? You're just going to leave the Infinity Gauntlet on the ground? Okay, sure, after you kill Thanos and steal his illegal weed farm, I'll take the giant reality-altering glove.
Thanos gloves probably help grow the daintiest weed in Colorado.
Yeah, that was kind of weird when I came back.
That's why it was fun. I've built an empire of weed.
I got spared.
Yeah, literally, Sherry, you weren't there for this. We all took a test to see if we got spared or snapped. Everyone was spared except for me.
Maybe Thanos just doesn't like you.
I don't think he does. I don't think he likes much of anyone.
I took him down, took the gauntlet, and just sat and established my empire with weed. And I'm in one of the best states to do it.
Well, if we're following the lore, I took the gauntlet, but then, I got turned to dust, so...
Dust!
I was
Dust,
There's like a
dust,
little
dust,
bit
dust,
of
dust.
dust. You stuck your hand in it. And that was me.
To my memory, whether Mel or Neil won the fight, Thanos established his weed industry, and many people
established the weed industry.
It was Mel's weed. Let's not mistake this. Thanos grew the weed, Mel stole it.
Yep.
Yes.
That's how you build an empire, folks. You steal it.
An empire worthy of standing up against Ron's sand people.
There you go.
And the reason Captain Marvel is applicable to this episode is because Monica Rambeau is in it.
She comes back from Thanos weed.
Real fast, I am joined by both the lovely Charisse Darabin and Callum. Your last name is McRitchie. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did that.
I don't think you did. I don't think you knew that at all. I think you've been trapped in another dimension for 5 years, and you've forgotten that your name is Callum McRitchie. You've been going by Buzz Digby. That's your fake... That's your fake sitcom name, Buzz.
Digby.
Well, now you... Well, you did an American accent in one of the episodes. That was Buzz Digby right there.
2 mediocre jobs and beyond.
Okay, so let's just dive into the episode, though. Mel, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I was just saying, being like, yep, I'm back. I'm not dead yet. Knock on wood.
She was simply trapped in a dimension of her own creation, as you do.
No, I was establishing my weed empire.
Well, yeah, but is that not in your own dimension? Isn't that the best place to grow weed?
No, it's the current dimension where I can rule these peasants.
I mean, you got a point. Although Wanda's kind of doing that with her own dimension.
Are you suggesting that Wanda's making her own weed industry?
No. Maybe.
Well, then
Honestly,
she
given...
has some choice. So I have to leave the episode. Wanda and I are going to have some choice words in a second. I'll be back.
Honestly, if I had to give a bet, considering how much trippy visuals are in this, I'd say acid. Wanda's making acid.
I am so high.
People who come into the field, they don't come back.
All right. So, obviously, we're not going to do a full recap of the episode. But to go kind of quickly, we're seeing what's been going on with the Sword Agents. That's the whole episode. Monica wakes up. Maria Rambeau's dead. She goes back to Sword, meets up with Jimmy Woo. We learn a little bit more about what's happening. Darcy comes into the show, and then at the end, Monica gets ejected out. We'll go into more detail about what we liked, but that's the general synopsis.
To the window, to the window, to the wall.
I switch
So
up
Monica
down my
Rambeau
balls.
breaks them all.
Sorry.
Because she's going fly.
Down, skeet, down, skeet. Now that song's gonna be stuck in my head. You forget that I was dancing to that shit when I was in high school and middle school, right?
gonna be what we did with Ron and Every Time We Touch. Where he's
I
just
get
coming
the
in
feeling when every time you touch, I swear I can. Okay, I'm done.
So real fast before we dig in fully, because I do think I figured out WandaVision now. I said that before off screen. I think I figured out what's going on, and I'm pretty confident that what I think is going on is correct. So I'm excited to see what you guys think. But did you have any highlights this episode? Let's start with Mel, because she's new here now.
I know. So I definitely just so that way I only talk about the episodes I missed on the podcast, but episodes 1 through 3 I adored. I adored so much. I appreciate the homage to those classic shows like I Heart Lucy, the Brady Bunch, all that shit. And I think it was a charming idea of it being an alternate reality based on classic sitcoms from yesteryear, And I felt like the show charm, and it brought me back to why I loved the shows growing up and why I still love them to this day. But I did like the hint of dread, and it got dark, and you knew something was gonna happen. You were waiting for episode 4.
I fully agree with everything you're saying. I really love the sitcom aspect, and I was actually a little scared that when we left the sitcoms, maybe I was gonna like it less. But considering the show made me like Kat Dennings, I think we're in good hands now. Did you have any highlights specifically about? Did you just say Allstate? Cher,
You said we're in good hands. I said Allstate.
You're right. I should have said Allstate. That's why I'm upset. Cher, did you have any highlights about this specific episode that you liked? Maybe stuff with Monica, or just anything.
Corpse vision. Walking corpse.
I do like corpse vision. I mean, they say bring home a stiff, but I don't think they meant it this literally.
Oh my gosh, I still can't wipe that image off of my head. I was like, oh.
Fun fact about corpse vision. Oh, go ahead, Mel.
I was gonna say, I did corpse vision. It also too made me sad because of yeah, just throw that salt in the wound again. Throw it.
It is a little creepy to think about that Wanda is playing dress up and pretend with her boyfriend's corpse.
She's in denial. Just kidding.
But I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when Wanda, right after she threw out Monica, when she's just standing there, you can actually see Vision in the background, and you can't really tell that his skin color has changed yet, but you can totally see a giant black mark in the middle of his head. I was just sitting there. I didn't even think they were going to show corpse vision. I just thought they were going to have that, and I would have to be like, dude, when I do this episode, I'm going to have to suggest that she's puppeting his corpse. But then they showed it. And I like that now no one's going to call me crazy, because usually when I suggest corpse puppeting, Callum thinks I'm nuts.
Or
Neil,
that
Neil.
one scene from freaking It.
Wait, Neil. There are no strings on Vision.
Oh wow, actually, Cal.
That actually makes a lot more sense. I got no strings.
Yeah, actually, Cal, that might be ironically a very deep look, because if you remember, he was created to be Ultron's final body, and Ultron was always singing that song.
There are no strings on me.
I don't know. It weirdly feels. I really want Vision to have a line where he realizes like he's being puppeted, and he just goes, "You have me all raveled up in strings." Oh, what if Vision becomes Ultron? That'd be fucked.
I think what Wanda needs to sing to Vision next is "Hi diddly dee, an actor's life for me."
I mean, as long as he doesn't turn into a donkey, I'm okay.
Oh my goodness.
Plot twist. They're all donkeys.
Like the animal or the other meaning?
Well, here's the thing. This is where we get our big reveal, because Paul Bentley has been talking about a very successful actor who has not been shown on the show yet that he's excited to work with. I think we just revealed that is Mike Myers, and Shrek will be joining the MCU.
Somebody wants to throw this guy.
I'm just saying, tons of donkeys all over the place. Who are we gonna call?
I think the other thing with this episode that confirmed, because like after episode 3, it had dawned on me, because I haven't read this like comic in a while, but when the twins appeared, I remembered being like, wait, in the comic books, Wanda created twins because Vision couldn't physically, reproduce with her, but decided with her witchcraft to like manifest like twins, which turn into like pretty big characters in the comic book world of the Marvel Universe, like as a whole. But it confirmed my suspicions of being like that. I think Mephisto will be involved, because she pulled, the magic, or I don't remember exactly how in the comics, but the magic or the bean, just a little bit of Mephisto to make the twins happen. So I'm kind of excited to see Mephisto being one of the big.
I don't want to spoil anything, but maybe Marvel Satan has a role in my theory I was referencing.
I don't trust Agnes.
I don't trust Agnes either. Did you notice on the board when they're putting all of the like people's real names, and they're like, "Oh, Clara something has Mrs. Hart," and they're like writing down everybody's real names? There wasn't one of those for Agnes. Her real name is still unknown. And plus, now that we know confirmed, the only people in the world that have their real names are Wanda and Vision, Agnes is probably confirmed to be Agatha Harkness.
What about Dottie?
I don't know about Dottie. She wasn't on the wall either. Some people think she's Mephisto. I don't know, though. I don't know.
I think it's just about a matter of waiting to see. I want to give the MCU some credit where credit is due, because they have been in the game since 2008 and doing the game pretty well, even though I think there was a bit of time that we were all getting burnt from it for a bit. But I think that with WandaVision being that revision after their break of the MCU for a bit, I don't think that they would be as simple as making one of those two to be revealed as Mephisto. I have a feeling it's going to come out of left field, but I could be wrong too. It's just a theory, or me giving Marvel still some benefit of the doubt of being I don't think it would be as easy to make those two as Mephisto. I think it would be somebody that either will appear later that you're not expecting, or come out of left field.
I am right with you, and I cannot wait to tell you my theory. But Callum, did you have any highlights? It could be bunnies. Reference.
Well, the musical episode for WandaVision.
I'd love to see a musical episode.
In all seriousness, we're really getting into the red pill now of finding out about Wanda's acid farm. Anyway, all jokes aside, yeah, this is the first major episode where we finally get some answers. And what I really love about some good mysteries, from what I've learned from Gravity Falls, is that when you get some questions answered, there's more that comes with them, which it further invests you even more. That's what makes a really good mystery. It's like when you get one question solved, it's not a matter of, ooh, okay, now we know everything. Now it's a matter of, no, keep investigating. We're making progress. So in this case, we know the following. Sword is not in direct control of this field, whatever it is. They are not making some kind of bizarre social experiment. They are setting up camp around it to try to rescue people from it. We know that Wanda, to some capacity or another, we've yet to find out, is in direct control of this delusion of disbelief. When she threw out Geraldine, you can see her hesitating for a moment, taking some time to breathe before deliberately putting things back into place. So she does know she has witchcraft. She does know that this television show is a hoax. And she must be in control of the way that it sort of cuts out and edits it. And we finally find the secret behind the beekeeper, who was actually this guy in a suit. And apart from the mystery being further developed in a really satisfying way, I also liked how they brought along some characters from like the MCU. Like even if you didn't watch the MCU prior to this, I think they're still quite likable characters. Like I was pleasantly surprised to see Darcy pop up again. When I first saw the episode, I thought, hey, it's the girl from Thor. And a lot of people find Darcy annoying, but I actually like her, and she actually reminds me a lot of my sister. Think her plus Rapunzel, that's my sister.
I like her a lot now. Like, I gotta be real. Darcy, like, came in this episode and was like, I'm here to fucking play. Like, she came in super funny, actually was the one solving the problems. I especially loved her line of, I need, like, an old TV, not a flat one. She dropped a thing of ramen. She was funny this whole episode, which is something you cannot say about some of the Thor movies.
It's been a while since I've seen the Thor movies, and I had to look her up. And I was like, I know her, but I don't remember her name.
I only remembered her for the simple fact of being like, because like an unpopular opinion, I think I talked about Reactaholics, was like I actually liked the second Thor movie, which apparently is an unpopular opinion, but I liked it for its comedic charm. But the one thing that, yes, did stand out to me with all the Thor movies was the fact that Darcy wasn't like all that great at first. But I do like the fact that because I'm the type of person that is just like, if you're going to bring anything back, whether it's a remake of a show or a character that was, previously existed and maybe not as popular, if you're going to bring them back, bring it hard, bring it solid, make it to where it was a good choice for you to do. And I think that they delivered on that with her character. Because if they made her the same, the show would just tank alone just for her going back to like her older ways and how her character was in the Thor movies.
I mean, I agree with you. I thought Darcy was great. Again, I think she has more of a character to her than Captain Marvel does. And that's not a high bar to hit.
Here we go again.
Well, that's not a high bar to hit for me, but, Actually, I'm going to switch and talk about a different Marvel property altogether. There's this one episode of Defenders. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but essentially all of the side characters.
I love Jessica Jones.
All of the side characters from all the other shows get together and they just sort of talk and try to figure out what's going on. You see characters you wouldn't really expect to like talk to each other. It's like Jessica Jones' like partner is talking to Foggy Nelson. It's so interesting to see, and I got those same vibes from seeing freaking the guy from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Jimmy Woo, walk up and talk to the girl from Thor. Like,
right.
I know it's not an Avengers movie, but it was giving me those vibes of I could watch these characters just talk for like ever.
Exactly, like, because that's where I think, like, even though, like, yes, I think that we all were experiencing, like, Marvel fatigue for a little bit when they were trying to wrap up the first wave of like the franchise and stuff. But the one thing that I will give compliments to like Marvel with is being like, you guys have figured out the formula that works best for you that I think other studios need to take notes on, because like we definitely like we're in a point where it's just like remakes were coming out that were just like like getting worse and worse by the second, or they were going to bring back like certain characters it wasn't on the nose. And I think honestly like other studios need to take notes from Marvel with how well executed that they can like keep like bring back certain things that maybe weren't as popular before but actually make it better. And they figured it out on their own without maybe like a little bit of influence, because everyone knows originality is dead pretty much at this point, but they figured it out on their own of like how to make something that wasn't popular before or wasn't like as great as like their big main people. And I think other studios need to take note of that too, of being like for example DC, Jared Leto's Joker was shit. We all agree on that, of being like it was terrible. And yeah, they came up with their own thing of like making the Joker movie with Joaquin in it, but they never quite landed it on the nose. But I think that they just need to take some note from Marvel and come up with their own thing of being like, oh, if we were to put Jared back, how would we make him better as the Joker?
And that's happening. That's happening with the Snyder Cut. So let's see if they did take those notes.
Just replace Jared Leto with Walking Phoenix and you fix Suicide Squad. Anyway, all jokes aside. Yeah, Mel's exactly right. And Marvel worked for so long because they focus a lot on characters. Yeah, we go back because we just love how well written and how well developed they are. We love their creativity, and as you said, Mel, they have this habit of bringing back like the bottom of the collection barrel and just making it a phenomenon. Like, this is the same team who gave a rebirth to like the Guardians of the Galaxy like about a decade or so ago.
And let's not forget, they're going to do this again with She-Hulk. They're bringing back Abomination for that. We haven't seen him since the second movie of the MCU.
Yeah, except for that one will be a huge staple of if they can make it work, because let's face it, like their groundbreaking success was not Hulk at all. Being like the second Hulk was just as forgettable. It's the only one in the current MCU universe that unanimously is agreed of being like, yeah, we didn't really care for this shit. And he didn't do Abomination justice in that movie either. And I think that's because the movie failed on a different level for the MCU. But it's also, too, it's a huge staple for Marvel because they were out of the game for years. Like, DC and Disney were, like, and other franchises were getting way more attention. And I know that Marvel is a Disney property now, but I still try to separate it from Disney, because it's just like you can tell like what they're doing right as comparisons to like Disney, where Disney's kind of like slacking with their own properties now. So the shoes on
live
the other
action remakes.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate live action remakes, but that's for another episode if we ever talk about that. But to stay
Crossing
on track
fingers and hoping Raya's good. I'm crossing fingers hoping
No.
Raya the Last Dragon's good.
No, you know what would be better? Them fucking stopping, just in general, being like, you're done.
Disney just stopped.
I like some of their songs, but some of their choices are very questionable.
I mean, back on WandaVision for a sec, though, I do think they are really nailing setting up these characters. Like, I think Jimmy Woo is going to end up becoming, like, the new Phil Coulson. Like, I think he's going to be our funny agent who comes in and may even die eventually. But I think he's just going to be there to, like, be a familiar face who's going to carry us through the plot a little bit. And he did the little trick with his card that he totally learned from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Give me more Jimmy Woo.
Right. like just the way that they took like, and I guess this what drives my point to like make it more of like more WandaVision, but still talking about my point of like the Marvel thing. I mean, this is such a original, unoriginal idea, if that makes sense. Being like the way that they set up the first few episodes of paying homage to like classic shows, to all of a sudden it like really hitting the ground fucking running at episode 4 of being like, nah, we're not fucking around with you guys. Like we toyed with your feelings for 3 episodes, but now we're going in for the kill. It just shows of being like, yeah, like Marvel also too did something right of taking that long needed like hiatus, no matter how short or long it was, because they can come up with shit of being like, how are we going to shock our fans, like fans of just the MCU and comic book fans alike? And that's ingenious to me.
I think Callum really nailed it on the head. In our first review of WandaVision episode 1 and 2, because they came out the same day, Callum said this is like Marvel's version of Gravity Falls, and I don't think he could have been more right. Like,
oh no, I 100% agree with that, because yeah, that did give me like some Gravity Falls vibes, which by the way, like during my time being gone and away from people, I actually watched Gravity Falls. Love that show. Love
it's
it
so
to death.
good. It's so good.
It's a really great Disney show.
But no, I think Callum, you're absolutely right to like, you know, throw that comparison in, because that's what the vibe setup was, just being like a little hint of it. Like it wasn't too much on the nose unless you've actually seen the show. But I think that's like a good comparison for the first episodes.
Yeah, thank you. I still miss Gravity Falls, but its aim is getting better.
Haha, so hilarious.
Cher, but before we go into the theory, because I'm getting a little cocky, but in my head, I am convinced I have solved the entire show. Did you have anything you liked? Any jokes that really stood out to you, or just anything you want to talk about before the conversation kind of shifts?
I think all of you guys just made your point. I was just sitting here just making random jokes over here. I think all of you guys kind of made your guys' points. I'm just staring in the back and I'm like, yep, you guys keep talking. I'm just gonna pop in every now and then and make some weird random jokes.
Opinions.
I like how, like, you know, Darcy was, when she was looking at like the sitcoms, she was like, oh, because she's like really invested. So I like that.
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah. Like I always, like my parents and I, we always watch WandaVision, even though I actually watched it beforehand. I just don't say anything to my parents, because if I do, my dad's gonna be really mad at me. That's why I'm glad he's gone for now. So sorry, Dad. I already watched WandaVision episode 4. It can get me later. It's okay. But he was always, because every time we end the episode, he's always been making comments about like, oh, what are they, you know, like the parodies. I know I had a hard time saying parodying before. It was really difficult for me to say parody.
Parodying. It's difficult for me too.
Yeah.
It's a word.
Parodying.
And my dad's like, I wonder what's going on. So because I actually have both a Marvel and DC encyclopedia book. So we were both looking up like what was going on, who's really behind this. And I know probably going towards like your theory thing. Like, you know, at the very end, Monica is like, it's Wanda, she's doing it all. Like for me, I'm like, yeah, she's doing it, but I feel like someone's manipulating her. She may be able to like control and stuff, but someone, as Callum would say, was pulling the strings. Wanda may be pulling the strings with Vision, but someone else is pulling the strings with Wanda. That's what I think.
That kind of leads perfectly into my theory. So here we go. Are you ready to? Once I say this, I think it's going to stick with everybody.
I'm ready. Ah!
You guys know, like, we've talked in the past episodes, I've casually made references to, like, oh, maybe they're in a pocket dimension. Do you guys know what a pocket dimension is?
Yeah.
Well, a pocket dimension, for those of you out there who haven't played D&D, is essentially a dimension in between dimensions. Let me explain. You know how, like, you're in between two rooms, there's a wall. Well, a pocket dimension would be the space inside of the wall. And of course, mice can run in there, all kinds of things can get in them. I think what Wanda has done is tap into, essentially, I think she is in a pocket dimension, but also she is weakening our dimension through it. Like, she's breaking the walls of our dimension. Literally, if you will, Wanda's fourth wall break. That's my big theory. She's actually breaking the fourth wall to a different dimension. Now, the question is, what dimension? And my answer is, well, we already know. Vision's behavior, even though he is clearly being puppeted and stuff, he's not her slave. She's not controlling him. So, to some degree, she has revived Vision, but he has to stay in Westview. Like, at the end, she says, no, we can't leave. So what I think she has done is connect two dimensions. She's breaking a wall, or at least making it looser. And she's connecting to Mephisto's dimension, which is basically hell. But the way that this works is because essentially she's taken a wall and turned it into a doorway. Doors go both ways. So I think Mephisto is trying to use Wanda's, like, grieving to get out. And because of that, I think he's used some of his power to, like, manipulate some of the people in the town, maybe making her spell more powerful than it actually was, to make her not want to leave. I think he sent Agatha Harkness. She's there to make sure that, like, she stays while Mephisto can, like, claw his way out.
Right.
I am, like, now certain that at the end, in the new trailer, we see a shot of Vision. It looks like he's leaving Westview and is trying to drag him back in. I don't think that's Wanda dragging him back in. We've seen scenes that they're going to fight. I think Mephisto is like, no, if you leave, she has no reason to keep this world up. You're staying here. You are staying here until she can make this shit weak enough so I can come rule your world. So I think it's a combination of both. Wanda did this shit, but she unintentionally opened a door for Mephisto, and I think that's how it's going to connect to Doctor Strange. This door is going to still be open. Like, she ripped up the universe, and that's not going to go away at the end of the show. I think that's going to affect Spider-Man. I think it's going to affect Doctor Strange.
And the multiverse of madness.
Right.
So
Like,
my theory is Wanda is breaking the fourth wall. Literally the MCU canon fourth wall, and she's going to rip in to hell. Or worse than that. What do you guys think?
So I actually agree with majority of what you said. I just want to add into a bit of your theory, though.
Oh, please.
Like, you did have a fair point of, like, because I do believe Wanda is in most of control, or at least half of control of this universe. Like, she may be doing it unintentionally, she may be doing it intentionally. You know, as somebody who's been through grief myself, grief works in really, really fucked up ways. But I do have an add-on to the control of Vision. I think why he's not completely in her control, like, you can tell that, you know, he's definitely not a slave. He's a willing participant, and it might be a little bit deep and sad, but I think it's his self-consciousness and his love of him actually being aware of what's going on. Hence why it doesn't seem like that he's just a puppet on strings for her. He's totally himself. He's totally has his own personality. So I think, like, in a way, it's still his spirit, even though he's a robot at the end of the day, but it's his spirit.
He has his free will, right?
Yeah. And I think that's what she was able to manifest, was his free will and spirit to make him essentially come back to life. So I think that's going to play a huge part in your theory of Vision, trying to leave, because he's aware that even though she's doing it for good intentions, but as the saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So I have a feeling too that he's going to like try to stop it in his own way, because even though he's dead, like realistically, we all saw it happen, being like, he's dead, he's gone, he wasn't Thanos, he couldn't come back to life, he done.
See,
but
to
I
be
think he's gonna,
to deceive.
But I think he's going to play a huge part in stopping Mephisto. He's going to play a huge part in it, because even though he's dead, it's his spirit that's technically living in this pocket dimension that she created. So
I'm right with you. I think we're going to get a tearful ending where Wanda and Vision have to talk, agree to fight Mephisto, knowing that that's going to kill Vision.
Yeah,
like, knowing if
they
beat him, it's done. Spell's over.
Well, either way, it's going to be that I don't know if it's going to be like them having a talk to agree. I kind of see it going a different way of being like, I feel like he's going to try to talk to her, and she's going to resist somehow, because she doesn't want this to go away. She wants to be with him.
Right, because she's in denial, because like that's the main stages of grief. Denial, bargain, anger, depression, acceptance. Those are like the main. Those are the 5 stages. In denial, and that's why I think that's why she created this whole thing in the first place. Is so hard to explain. I feel sorry.
Share. Can you repeat what you just said? Because I just had another theory as you said it.
The 5 stages of grief?
Yeah. First one's denial. Second one is what?
Okay, so from what I've learned, because I'm in nursing, with like acceptance and hospice and stuff. So there's 5 stages of grief. So the first one's denial. The second one's anger, which you see because when Wanda kicks out Geraldine or Monica, Monica Rambeau, because she didn't belong. Bargain. She must have bargained with Mephisto or something.
Yeah, you're ahead of me now. You're right where I am.
Depression.
And then acceptance. But it's also too like playing on with like your stages of grief. It's also too because like the number one thing that people misunderstand with the stages is that it's not in order. I think you see that.
Right. It can go back and forth. Someone can be like in a denial, then angered, and then it can go back to denial, or it's not
what
all
we're
through
literally seeing. Like episode 1 is denial. Episode 2 seems to be like depression. She's like realizing that her little world isn't real, or it's at least bargaining, because she's definitely
I think you're gonna see the bargaining part later on, because like I think it's lighting up to show being like, because grief is more like scribbles that a toddler made. So it's because if you notice too in each episode, it's not just one stage of grief in each episode. It flips. Like in episode 2, especially, she's in depression and anger, and then goes back to denial, and then goes to depression again. It's, it's showing that grief with her, especially like since grief should not be treated anymore as like a stage type of thing. It should be treated like a scribble that a 5-year-old does, being like, you can go back and forth, left and right, and even if you get to the acceptance stage, you're at risk of like going back to the previous stages before. And I think Shelley was on the nose with the grief thing too, and like getting back to like my point of of what I was trying to convey with Vision is that I don't think it's going to be as easy as them teaming up. I think that there's going to be some resistance But I feel like Vision, whether he succeeds or not, is going to play a huge part of stopping this, because at the end of the day, he signed up to be an Avenger. It's his duty, even beyond the grave, type of deal. Like, he loves Wanda, he wants this to happen, but he knows it's wrong.
And you know, and eventually he's gonna sacrifice, even though despite what Wanda wants.
He's gonna die.
You're right.
I do want to finish my theory though, because there was one last part of it, which goes into the actor, because you know, the actor who plays Vision, he just keeps saying there's a secret actor who has not been shown yet, and there are rumors that Evan Peterson, who played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, is supposed to be in the show. So my theory is, towards the end, Mephisto is going to essentially open the universe, and at first Wanda is going to try to like open it too. That way she can drag Vision out, like opening the world to his own universe. Mephisto's going to start to step out, and then Vision and Wanda are going to have to fight him. I think during that one time where she's trying to like rip out Vision, she's going to rip out someone else from a different universe, and I think she's literally going to bring in an alternate dimension version of Quicksilver. And I think he's going to be in the MCU moving forward. I don't know if that will happen.
I'm 50-50 on that part of your theory, because, like, for one reason and one reason only, and that was because it did take them so long to get the rights of the X-Men, because you gotta remember, even with the MCU, and even though X-Men was a Marvel property, they weren't under the same umbrella for the longest time. It wasn't until, like, you know, Disney bought off almost everyone at this point, which including Fox. Even when they bought off Fox, it still took them forever to get the X-Men into the MCU canon-wise. So I don't know if they would do Evan Pedro again. I'm not sure, just because of that clash, because there's those fanboys and girls who either will extremely love Evan Peters Pedro coming back, and then there's going to be others who are going to be pissed the fuck off because they would want the actor who played Pedro in Ultron back.
Pietro.
So I say Pietro weird.
You're good. It sounded like you were saying Pedro.
I started to say Pietro.
Pietro.
But yeah, but that's my only like disagreement. I agree with your theory otherwise and adding on like more, but that's the only one that, because I heard that theory too, that Evan Peters might come back to reprise his Pietro role, but I don't think it's going to be that way. Or at least if it's going to be, they're going to have to like make it in a way where, like, even if the fanboys and girls who don't like Evan Peters' portrayal of Quicksilver, is going to at least tolerate. But I see it working with what you said about them opening up another universe or another dimension. It will only work that way. The reason
I brought it up is because in the last episode, which you weren't here, Mal, so it's understandable that you didn't know this. We briefly discussed like Quicksilver in general because he got name dropped, and I think it was mostly me and Callum doing it. And essentially, we asked the question, why isn't Pietro there? Because like Wanda's created her perfect reality. She's obviously wishing her brother was there. If she was like, essentially, I viewed that as undeniable proof that Mephisto is somehow involved. Because if it was her perfect reality and she can bring people back like Vision, why didn't she bring back Pietro? So I do wonder if that plays a role in all this too.
I have two theories of that. The first one is agreeing with you, of being like, I think that's how you know that Wanda is not in full control. She's not in the full-on hot seat.
of this universe, because yeah, if it was perfect, you would have saw Uncle Pietro like coming in and like being a cool uncle and shit like that. So I agree with that theory. The other one, and this is just like from remembering like watching, Age of Ultron and shit like that, is I think she got closure from Pietro's death. Yeah, she misses him, but I think like the deaths between Vision and Pietro were completely different. Yes, that was her brother. They went through hell together and back. They were the only people that they trusted and knew. But I think like she got closure with his death because he did a self-sacrifice that was, that made him honorable as a hero. Whereas with Vision's death, on the other hand, she didn't want him to die. Yes, she didn't want her brother to die, but it was more or less of being like he died in a different way. And I think that's also too where the grief thing's going to come about, is that everyone handles grief differently, and it's also too more broad of how do you handle other people you love's grief. Some people take friends dying more personal than family, or some people take a lover dying way worse than friends. And I think that's going to play a huge part in that, of being like, why isn't Pietro back? Being like, maybe she finally hit acceptance with him in some way, and it's just a theory, but in some way, and that's why, like, yeah, she's mentioned that she missed her brother and that she wished that he was here, but I felt like she hit acceptance with him, unlike Vision, where Vision's death was forced upon.
Well, right, I was about to say, like, unlike with, like, Pietro, yes, she felt it. She felt him dying, but she didn't have to witness pulling out that Mind Stone with Vision, like in Infinity War. That's what I was about to mention, too.
Here's the thing. I think Mel accidentally answered my question. At the very beginning, Mel made a reference to Uncle Pietro, and it all connected. They're saving him for the 80s episode. There's going to be a cameo by maybe the original actor, maybe Evan Peters, something. There's going to be a cameo of him in the Full House tribute episode, where it's going to be Wanda and Vision have to, like, leave or something, and then here comes Uncle Quicksilver to come babysit the kids. I think that's going to happen now.
Right, and now that, like, kind of, like, confirmed a little bit of my, like, theory and point, because, like, with, like, agreeing with your side with, like, Mephisto, being in charge, I think he's also going to drop that to try keeping her in, of being like, oh, apparently having a house, a husband, 2 children is not going to keep her in check to not resist this. I'm going to throw in her brother.
Throw in her brother, throw in her parents. I mean, she has adopted parents, but I don't know. Maybe we could get, like, a little mention of, like, Mephisto getting mad and saying, these weren't even your real parents. Foreshadowing to Magneto.
I feel like it's going to be, like, his own way of, like, hey, the only way that's going to keep her under my thumb is keep her happy. Being like, that's what this whole entire setup was about. So I'm just going to throw in her brother in the mix to see if that will do it, and so that way she doesn't break the cycle, or at least, like, his own way of being like, okay, she wasn't completely happy with the setup before. She mentioned her brother. Throw him in the mix.
I'm telling you, I think you got that, Mel. I think Uncle Pietro is on the way. But Cal, you were trying to speak a minute ago. I didn't actually hear what you were saying. Did you have anything to add?
If I could throw my own hat into this theory time, if what you say about bringing in the actor who played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies is correct, that means that all those other Marvel movies, like, that Disney has bought for Disney+, like the X-Men franchise and so on and so forth, they're all going to be somewhat canon with the implication of multiple dimensions. And now I'm getting deja vu from films like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So there's technically a possibility Miles Morales, the animated version.
Well, here's the thing. Borderline confirmed Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are going to be in the new Spider-Man movie. And something that has been confirmed is Alfred Molina, who plays Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2, is going to be in this movie. And Electro, Jamie Foxx will be in it. I think multiverse, dude.
Yeah.
Marvel
Phase
4, Chapter 2. This is going to be the multiverse saga. Last time was Infinity Saga, now we're going multiverse.
They'd better bring they better bring J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, or I'm out.
They already did. He's already in it. He's in our universe.
He's far from home, so he is. Yes.
All right, we're sort of towards the tail end now. So before we give ratings and such, do we have any final thoughts on what's been going on with WandaVision, with this episode and the whole series? Like, we've talked about the future. Let's focus on the present for a minute. Is there just one thing about the show so far that you guys have just loved? And we'll start with Callum.
Yeah, with Darcy and Mr. Wu coming in, assistants, assemble.
Oh, I would love that. Get like an assistants movie. Oh, look over there. It's one of Iron Man's robots. The one that fires smoke.
It's the guy who brings coffee. It's the Gallagher guy.
Oh, I would love that if like Gallagher is the leader. Gallagher guy, Darcy Lewis, Agent Jimmy Woo, and of course everyone's favorite Marvel character, Korg, in the assistants.
Hey man, before the break, we're going into the assistant team, and we're going to go into Wanda's acid farm. Wanna come?
I think the one thing I really love is I've always said that, like, obviously Hawkeye's my favorite superhero, but in terms of the
MCU,
MCU,
compliment him all the time.
he's sexy. I can't stop that.
I don't blame you. I have a lot of Christmas that I love.
But you made me lose my thought, Cher. Vision's always been my second favorite, and just seeing Paul Bentley really getting a chance to like play with this character and have fun and give him a much needed personality. Like, you know, I believe in the past, like I talked about Rey from Star Wars not having a lot of meat in terms of a character. Vision, I felt, always had a little bit of intrigue, but now he's meaty. Now we're really getting into the character, and from the trailers, it seems like the next couple of episodes are about him turning against Wanda. So I'm excited to see that shit. Cher, you got any one thing that's really been a highlight for this entire series?
It seems that Wanda's perfect utopia is not all that it seems, because everything is not what it seems.
You can give
That's all.
Wizards of Waverly Place. That's the joke here.
You knew that was coming.
You and I are friends. You and I. We get along because of our shared love of stuff that others think is stupid. And we will get on with this life of ours. Trapped in
Bring on
another
Satan.
dimension.
That's all I have to say. Bring it on.
Bring on Satan.
I mean,
I'm
unless you're Tom Ellis, we're gonna kick your ass.
I just want to fucking see Vision punch Satan. Is that wrong?
No.
I didn't think so. Mel, of course, like you're the one who hasn't really had a chance to like talk about the other episodes a ton. I mean, you talked about them here, but do you have one thing that about all of this is like, damn, this show is bringing me this one thing?
It's gonna be split into two, but I'll make them quick. One, this one will be longer than the second, but one is that at least in the MCU universe, I always loved Wanda and Vision's relationship. I think out of all the relationships in the MCU, I think it's the purest. I think it's the sweetest, and I think it's really like the most, like, at least in the terms of like realistic. Theirs is the healthiest relationship. Like, it's not damaged, or it's not, and I'm not saying that relationships should be perfect, but they didn't let like past baggages like affect their relationship. And I think this show proved that even more, is that their love is unconditional. It has its flaws, it's not perfect by any means, but they're able to figure it out together. It showed that in Infinity War, and it shows that here now. It's not like Black Widow and Hulk. Or it's because, like, in almost like all the other, like, and it's been shown in Marvel, like, oh, that's the other one, like Thor and shit, I'm spacing her name now.
Jane Foster.
Jane Foster.
Yeah. And it's not like that either, being like, yes, like, any relationship should be different, and no relationship is 100% the perfect relationship. But I think out of all of theirs, is that theirs was not only the least toxic, but it seemed the more realistic, of being like, they communicate, they do this. So that's one highlight I like. And the second one, of course, is that I just like their homages to like older shows so much.
I know, my dad kept pointing out, oh, hey, Sherry, look, this is I Love Lucy and the Dick Van Dyke Show. And I was like, and Bewitched and the Brady Bunch. And I'm like, Dad, that's nice. That's
Vacuum cleaner. Why is there a vacuum cleaner?
I was scaring my cat from not eating off the floor, so I turned it on for a second. That's my bad.
Oh, but that's adorable. That's worth it. That's worth her.
I can't wait for Full House, the Full House tribute, and whatever they
Uncle Pietro. Uncle Pietro. All right, let's go into ratings. So Mel, you haven't done this yet. This is a new rating system. Essentially, we each give a 1 to 10 rating, but then at the end we will add it up. Like
I got a
I believe
calculator.
Did anybody write down our original ratings?
No.
I meant to do that before the show.
No, I did not.
I
know episode 2 we gave a 24, and then last week's episode was 20.5.
And I think the first episode was like a point higher. So I think first episode was 26.
I think it was like 20. I think it was like 22.
So should I add in all of my stuff, like, together?
You know what? Say your ratings, and then off screen, I will add them all together. And then next episode, I'll be like, "Here's with Mel stuff." Like, I'll
got a calculator.
Start the episode like that. So what's your ratings for 1, 2, 3, and then we'll all do 4.
Okay, so my rating and it's 1 through 10, like 10 being the highest, 1 being garbage.
Okay.
1 being, this is the worst thing of this genre you've ever seen. You are actively going to try. You are actively going to try and stop people from watching it, and there's something about it that just upsets you, and you don't like that it exists.
Okay.
Marvel a 3, Cher.
Shelly, I love you, but you're treading on water. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm a violent person. I just play one for TV.
But 10 is, this is like the best version of this genre. You are actively going to recommend it to everybody. You're with this ride or die till the end.
Captain America.
I mean, I like that one, but Hawkeye's my ride or die.
I think I get it. So, okay, for episode 1, I would have to give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, you're the highest one.
Because I love this so much. Episode 2, I would have to give I'll give it the same, a 9 out of 10.
Once again, highest one. I think the highest one we gave for either of those episodes was like 8.5.
You underestimate my love for old shit. Loved it.
And 3?
And 3, I will say this will be my lowest one. Just I have my reasons. It was a little bit like somewhat like appreciated that they were still on the nose for the homage, but there were some things that didn't have quite the same energy. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
I also gave that one my lowest. I think I gave it a 6.5.
Yeah, you
Right,
did.
I don't know what it was about it of being like maybe it was like because like I knew it was starting to get serious, but there was just some things about the episode that just didn't play right with me. So, but I'll be fair, it was still a good episode. So 8 out of 10 for me for episode 3.
Do you have a rating for episode 4? Would you like to go first for that?
I'm going to say a 9 out of 10.
I think that's a fair rating. I think for me, I really like this episode. It made me like Darcy, which I would not have said was possible before this episode. Right. That being said, I do think it has one fault, and that is that it kind of told us stuff we already guessed. That being said, though, I loved how they were just watching the show and getting into it. So I think it kind of corrected itself a little bit. Like, even on that wall, you see all of the theories we've been talking about, even down to maybe it was Skrulls. So I think I got to go with 8.5. I do think this or episode 2 are probably the best episodes so far.
Oh,
Cal, go ahead.
It seems that the evenly numbered episodes are the best ones so far. I would give this an 8.5, but I remembered I gave the first 2 episodes distinctly an 8 out of 10, I remember. Then I gave the 3rd episode, I believe it was a 7. So I'm going to give episode 4, I believe I'm going to give it an 8. Because there might be some bits that might be a tad bit convoluted in terms of like Marvel lore. There's stuff like they explain about like the whole blip thing and other things and phenomena. But other than that, I really love how it displays its mysteries and the fact that it answers some questions and leaves room for more, thus getting you further invested. That's a good mystery building.
I agree. I think an 8 is a fine rating. Like, honestly, I said this last episode, I'm just waiting for that Halloween episode because I know that shit's going to get something high. I don't know if it'll be a 9 or a 10, but I can already tell they're building. Like, that's going to be a penultimate episode. Cher, what is your rating?
8.5.
Okay, so 2 8.5s. So those kind of equal each other out. That
34.
Would be...
It's 34 out of 40.
Okay, 34 out of 40. That's pretty good. That means there's only like 6 from being a perfect score. I think 34 out of 40 is pretty good. Like, I do wonder if we like rated this higher than the 2nd episode. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, because, well, I can do math. I can do math. 24 plus 9 is 33? Yeah, 33.
Oh wow, so we did. Huh, I guess this is the best episode then. So, Yep. Thank you all for watching. Do we want to plug ourselves? We sometimes plug our shit. Mel, you got anything you want to plug?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at ImperfectVanity. It's exactly like how it's spelled, all lowercase. I may or may not be hopefully getting back into modeling this year. It depends on COVID, though. Especially like with the new strain coming out, just stay safe, wear the right mask, and just stay 6 feet apart from each other. But you can follow me there. Anywhere that right. You can also follow me on Stardust at ImperfectVanity. Like anything that has my name or my username ImperfectVanity, you can basically find. And it should, unless it's my clone. I've been trying to kill for years.
Cal, wait, did you just say a clone you've been trying to kill? Nah.
Wait, you're not supposed to know that. Cut that from the tape. Cut that from the tape.
Cal, do you have anything to plug?
Mel's positioning like.
Plug yourself, boy!
I must go to bed. Plug in your shit, Callum. I must fight my clone.
Sorry, that was my
You
youngest.
can find Callum on Scott's Bear. He's on Scott's Bear YouTube channel. You have an Instagram, you're Callum McRitchie, and on Stardust, you're Scott's Bear too, right?
Scott's was
Yeah, I was trying to mention specifically like the videos I was talking about. I was trying to talk about the issue of Marvel fatigue, and I really loved your response, Neil, and a really good response to the other side of the coin. But really well done.
My boobs. Sorry, I'm fighting my clone. Don't mind.
We've gone mad.
Kill the cloney. Kill the cloney. I'm done.
Well, I guess for me, I do have a Twitter. I don't really use it. I gotta figure out how to change my username though. But I have a Twitter. I think it's my last name, first name, but I gotta change it. I don't know how to change it though. But then again, I'm not really on Twitter that much, so I don't think I posted anything since like 2018. Thanks to Tara Strong responding to me. So, but anyways, I also have a Stardust, Sherry the Dizviz. Do you like Disney and other stuff, but mostly Disney? I'm your gal.
And of course, I'm here on Dr. Neiltibus and the Lunatics. You can also find me in Elvish Laddie's streams on Twitch and Renegade Sky Ninja's Twitch stream. I am in there literally all the time, and I keep getting comments of people being like, "Where are you when you're not doing this video?" That's where I am. So if you want to get double the Neil, you can get it there. I don't know why you would play with such godly powers, but if you must, you can.
No, you said her secret code word. I almost won the battle. She's taking my bit.
You know, Mel, secretly, like, now, how do you know you're not the evil clone?
Well, then I must fight my good clone so that way I can be the good one.
I'm definitely the good one for sure.
That's what I did.
Oh no! Everyone's going insane! Quick! 2-1 does acid field!
Yes. To Wanda's happy place.
For the children, guys. For the children.
I need to take Wanda out in a second. I just need to defeat my evil clone. I mean, yeah, she's my evil clone.
You're just gonna become the Marvel drug lord, aren't you, Mel?
Yeah! Try to stop me!
ImperfectVanity, Marvel's drug baron.
And I'm Sherry the Disney, the magical princess from another dimension. Oops, that's Star from Star Versus.
When I came back to life, everyone I loved was dead. Goodbye.
Bye. I might not be alive next episode.
Cher has secretly been a corpse this entire time. Cher has secretly been a corpse this entire time.
Cher has secretly been a corpse this entire time.